Welcome to Art Snark. My name is Uber Skunk,
I'm Dexa1.
and we have a
And I'm
special
Ashley.
guest here who I can't stop interrupting.
Okay, I'm AshleyFableBlack.
As you may recall, AshleyFableBlack did the last piece on the first Art Snark with the pony and the telephone pole and the accessories that went with it.
It's all good.
It is all
And
good.
the basic idea of Art Snark here is that we take three pieces of art that we got permission to use, except for the middle one, which I'll get to that later. And basically we comment on them, but not so much for the skill involved, but rather the ideas and concepts behind them, if such a thing actually existed, since most of it's from the furry fandom. So, Dex, anything you want to add to that?
Actually, I was gonna just quickly ask Ashley, did you see the comments from the second part of the last episode?
Okay, the only comments I knew were mine and my fiance, actually. Oh God, how much joy had to come from that.
I think there was like one of your fans was commenting on there. I think, unless that was your fiance.
No, I know which one's her fiance here. Every other word her fiance says is "I love you, Ashley."
Oh, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah, but I think one of your fans commented on it, it's like saying thank you for putting this great artist in the public eye or something like that. So
Well, I
there
don't
you
know from
go.
that.
You're getting us subscribers.
Oh, generally, it's kind of a funny thing, but in the furry community so far, at least, I have not gotten so much the just outright fucking hate that I see in other groups. It's, oh my God, Pinky Poo, you can't.
Yeah.
It's horrible. What's wrong with you? Are you furry? But it really surprised me. The furries are. It's amazing how many of them really hate this shit.
Well, even the furries have their limits, but then some of them don't. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started with the first piece here?
Ahem.
So,
Yeah,
we
who
can
is this
pull this
piece
one
done?
up.
Who is this piece done by?
This piece was done by myself, Uberskunk, who has a real first name. I bring it up here now. And it's a piece I did for Relaxing Dragon for Affinity, who's one of my good buddies for reasons neither me or him probably fully understand. I did this for him a while ago as a thank you. I think he read chapter one of my story Woodland before I finished it because I wanted him to see how it was, and he did it, and I was appreciative of it, and so I did him this drawing, and then he never read that story again.
Man, I think you might have offended him in some way. Maybe it's the way you drew his hands.
You know,
Hmm.
about this drawing, he's a sweet guy because I think what he said was it was very cool when what he should have said was, "Gee, Uberskunk, you're pretty good at Contra, but you sure can't draw a raccoon." Because, I mean, there's all kinds of things happening here that's
Yeah.
questionable.
I don't know, personally, for me, I'm ecstatic just to look at it. I get so tired of seeing the same freaking art style from a billion different artists that, I mean, technically are very talented, I suppose, but they all learn from watching each other stream, so it's the same goddamn digital style over and over and over. So seeing anything just done in pencil,
It's very
you've got
refreshing.
my tell. Yes.
Yes.
Let's be fair, Ashley. Those people only stream because they're so gosh darn important.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true.
otherwise, otherwise, we wouldn't want to watch them.
Maybe we should start a stream. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
Shooting a plunger, isn't that awesome, dude? Yeah.
But, I always could tell that I was shit at characters back in the day because, again, this one was pretty old. Because every time I showed off a drawing like this, people always said, "Wow, you did a pretty good job in the background." They never said one word about the character.
I think the character in this is actually pretty well proportioned, to be
Uh,
honest.
Well, that's because you're Welsh, Dex. And
Shut
you're
up! Okay?
Well,
This has nothing to do with it.
look what's happening here. It's like he's got, these large pecs, but for no real reason, because they're not, It's like they're wide, but they're not. But they're still like really scrawny.
Well, maybe he's deformed. I don't know.
Well, that's out of curiosity because you seem to have a very humanoid hand, but the feet almost look more feral. I mean, that's just the positioning of the toes, but I was curious on that.
Well, that's I always did that where I made the hands human-like, but I like to make the feet feral-like because well, animal feet are delightful even if I can't draw them.
The only thing I can see is immediately wrong with this is that he's not really looking at the mirror. He's like looking at the top of the mirror. He's not really looking at
But that's good American pine right there to make this mirror, which doesn't even.
Yeah.
Oh, that does sound like someone's like peeping on you, and you just walked in the room and oh, hey, what's up?
The whole room's kind of at a slant too.
The window is kind of off,
No.
but
Plus, if you really stop to look at it, that tail's like coming straight out of his ass,
a little bit.
and his pants are like it's doing that because for some reason I gave him that like Abercrombie and Fitch pants that are barely even on.
He likes a loose fit, obviously.
The low rise going on there. Yeah, that's true.
Like coming straight out of his ass, like those booty icons they had for a while. Not coming out of his spine, coming out of his ass.
Well, I suppose the tail does seem a little low on that too. When you want to get to that.
We wanted to actually. I'm posting this because I knew I wouldn't need permission for it because he would have given me permission for anything, and I drew this. I wanted to post a My Little Pony brony he had done of his character, but I couldn't get the artist's permission.
Oh, Christ.
Which I guess that was her decision or his. I don't remember. Probably female.
Doesn't mean we can't still bitch about it.
Well, I made a mistake in using the word critique. I'm convinced girls don't like to be critiqued. So, that's pretty much what I have to say about this. Unless anyone else has anything to say, we could probably move on.
You have the same alarm clock I do. That, I guess maybe I don't know how that.
You have a disproportionate alarm clock.
Actually, the little fucker is kind of like that. I took a hammer to it one time not too long ago.
Why did you do that?
The little son of a bitch wouldn't stop beeping at me. I wanted to sleep.
So you just took a hammer to it?
Well, yes.
That is priceless.
So we can move on to piece 2. Admittedly, I have no idea what we're going to show for a visual of this, but what piece 2 is a piece of writing by one of my fans named, I think his name is Shadequake. I never actually asked him how to pronounce his username.
It's probably like Shaddy Quacky.
Shaddy Quacky, yeah. I think it's Shadequake because he has a character who's just named Shade, I noticed from my rummaging around the site, and apparently Shade was in an earthquake. I don't know about that, but well. Now, this is an erotic piece of sorts.
Well, it's like it's like a psychological thriller at one point,
where a hyena named Kai.
It's a great name.
Decides he's going to go to the carnival with his little bunny whore named Julian, which is Shadequake's character, and canoodling will ensue. But before that happens, there's all this
It's not
stuff.
so much canoodling as it is straight up fucking.
Well, they don't really get to the canoodling. They just mostly get to the canoodle.
That sounds like a type of canoe.
Well, I didn't want to just say canoe, because there is no canoe.
Oh, that would have made this story so much better.
Might as
if
well
there was a canoe.
Fucking canoe, man.
But so, in the beginning of this story, which kills me, is Kai's in... I have to read this out loud. Kai's in school and... Okay. Let me just read this, okay? Good. Now, please read pages 707 of your text silently. Then you can... Mr. Holmes continued, letting his class drag on past the first bell. Once the second bell rang, all the students stampeded out of the class to end their school day. Kai strut, I think he meant to say strutted.
Yes.
Kai strut down the hall to his locker, daydreaming once more. Before he knew it, he was on his way home. And I think that was before we all knew it.
Yes. Before even we, the audience, knew it.
His thoughts entertaining his mind while the body trailed its way home. Kai walked through the front door and upstairs to his room, quickly throwing his backpack on his bed. He placed his cellular on his dresser and started stripping off his clothing. See, he could have just said take it off. He had to say stripping off.
It's not sexy unless you say stripping. You know.
Right. He grabbed a towel and walked into his bathroom across the hall. Behind it, turned the water on, jumping slightly as the water warmed up from its cold state. Who gets in there and just turns the water on?
I know I don't.
Hyde is an idiot.
Gumby, I don't fucking know.
He lets the water run down his body and through his fur. He let the water, I should say.
Yes.
He wagged his tail around as he shampooed his head. Now I don't have a tail.
No.
I mean, I'm like one of like 3 furries in this. Well, not really a furry, but one of 3 people in the furry fandom who would say he doesn't have a tail. You know, I mean, I guess I do in my heart and soul, but that's BS. Anyway, he wagged his tail around as he shampooed his head and washed behind his ears. The warm water ran the suds from his chest, and Kai turned the water off. He dried his body off and shook his head, flipping his hair, dripping water. He placed the towel over his and walked out of the restroom, stopped by the dresser, looking down at his now vibrating phone. Rabbit, huh? Rabbit spelled R-A-B-Y-T.
Rabbit?
Yes.
He laughed as he grabbed the F-Touch cell phone. Yo, Bunny, what's up? Now, I read very slowly when I'm reading out loud.
What is he placing the towel over? He placed the towel over his what?
Placed the towel over his and, well, maybe he meant to say himself.
You know, just having you read this out loud, and I'm trying to follow, it's actually more confusing, all the jumps in tone and tense. It's hurting my head. It really is.
The other thing is like who laughs out loud and like picks up their phone? Have you ever seen anyone do that? Like on their own.
Okay.
Like if you're on your own, like hello.
One time, me and Bai were reading. I was reading Bai the story out loud I found for Affinity about this mouse who was apparently friends with Fievel, who had a fetish that he acted out while Fievel was gone, where he fucked himself in the ass with his own shit.
What the fuck?
Now, that aside, what really killed us about that story was that everything he said, the writer had made him say he said aloud. So he literally said, "I want to sit on my shit so that it goes up my ass again," he said aloud. So,
and where did this take place? Did this take place in somewhere?
It take place at Fievel's little house or hovel, I don't know.
So then Fievel came home
eventually. Fievel came home eventually, just like basically like, "Oh, look what you did." Anyway, back.
It's very specific about the F-Touch phone as well. Like, why does it have to be an F-Touch? Oh, is that supposed to be like an I-Touch? But it's replaced with an F because we're all furries?
The fur touch? I mean, what the fuck is that?
I don't...
I'm sorry, I'm not techno-savvy.
I'm just looking at it like, well, that's wrong in the first place because the I-Touch is not a cell phone.
Well, at one point in this story, this rabbit thing and his delightful hyena companion go, like, kick the crap out of some felines as if a bunny boy could do anything besides be a bunny boy.
Please don't fuck me!
And then, just, if I may skip ahead, much like Shadequake does.
Yeah.
This ends with them getting to this carnival and, like, fucking in a house of mirrors. And what bothered me about that, more than the idea of fucking in a house of mirrors, is that he never once utilized that at all. He's never like, Rabbit could feel Kai's dick penetrating from hundreds of angles at once. Like, lose his mind.
You gave me the most interesting ending for Enter the Dragon in my brain right now.
Yes.
They'll have an orgy instead.
Bruce Lee versus the Big Boss, and suddenly it breaks down into this severe butt fucking, and it's like, oh my god.
Plus, who says this out loud? Heh, you close too, Bun Bun? Let's try to go together, okay?
No.